Good morning. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. It's Monday morning and it's a glorious day to look forward to. In the past, Sunday nights used to leave me feeling with a low grade dread settling in, worrying about the week, worrying about Monday morning, making myself sick because I was leaning into the logical facts that it was I was going to wake up and Monday was another hard grinding work day. There are so many people that live their lives that way, and I tell you, it's all in your head. Napoleon Hill said, "Remember, it takes no more effort to aim high in life, to demand abundance and prosperity than is required to accept misery and poverty." When you first hear that, it might sound kind of ridiculous if you're stuck in having to work hard, having to earn a living, having to raise a family. You don't really have to do anything. Oh, yes, there's consequences, but there's also choices. Did you ever just allow yourself to sit back and relax and think about it's Monday morning. What would I love to be doing? If I loved my work, if I found joy in my purpose, if I was doing something that made me happy because it made others happy, wouldn't that be a nicer way to live your everyday life? The secret is increasing the power of your mind, allowing the beautiful energy to that you can tap into and decide you're going to be happy, healthy, prosperous. You're going to love life because life loves you. And you can start to look for evidence that life is a wonderful adventure instead of looking for evidence to support the daily grind and what you don't want and bringing into reality things that you're afraid of, things that you worry about, things that you don't want. There is a powerful energy. It's forever flowing, it's infinite. You might say God or infinite intelligence or infinite levels of vibrational energy, whatever you call it. You decide which direction your life is taking you. Is it going to be a beautiful, fun, wonderful surprise? Or is it going to be fear and anxiety and horror? What you feel, you can tell how you're feeling, and how you're feeling is what you've been thinking about. So if you're feeling dreading going to work or worried about what's going to happen, you could decide you're going to change the direction of that energy. You're going to drop that hot poker stick. You're going to let go of that anchor around your neck and go in the opposite direction. It could be as simple as imagining putting down a heavy trunk and skipping away into the wild blue yonder. What do you really, really, really want? Bob Proctor used to ask that all the time. And most people don't even allow themselves to think that way. If I could do or be or have anything, what would I really want? In the Thinking into Results program from the Proctor Gallagher Institute, written by Sandy Gallagher and delivered by Bob Proctor, in the last lesson, lesson 12, they talk about We're going to take a couple of paragraphs of Price Pritchett's material and explain how we've used it, and at the same time share suggestions on how you might use it. Price Pritchett wrote a little book called U Squared, and he suggests it implies an explosive jump in your personal performance that puts you far beyond the next logical step. You don't have to think logically. You don't have to understand everything, and you will never understand the big picture, what's going on in the universe, how you can tap into deciding what you want and bring it into your reality. Unless and until you study your mind and the energy and notice the energetic vibration that your body is in. Every great performer at some time or at some point has made a decision that they're not going to settle for another logical step. They want an explosive jump. They have, for whatever reason, become aware that they truly do have potential. They can do great things, and so can you. Every great performer, every great athlete, and you can decide, regardless of what anyone thinks or possibly how many failures you've had in the past, you can make a decision that you're going after whatever you truly desire. Price Pritchett also says that his little book, U Squared, is a formula for stunning advances in achievement and the realization of your dreams. What if you realized your dream? What would it look like? How would you be feeling? What would you be talking about on this Monday morning? How wonderful and great today is going to be. How fantastic life is. Or would you be talking about the next drudgery, the next task that has to be done on your to-do list? Put away your to-do list and write a to-be list. You want to be happy, you want to be healthy, you want to be wealthy, you want to be loved and respected. Be that. Price Pritchett says there's a formula for stunning advances in achievement and realizing your dream. Formulas are helpful things. They have a tendency to reduce complicated, misunderstood concepts into simple terms. Here we're talking about stunning advancement in achievement. Imagine what that would mean to you. Pritchett goes on to say that U squared is a formula for the realization of your dreams. In other words, it gives your dream a strategy that will turn your dream into a physical realization. And that's the process that I teach in Thinking into Results. Imagining that you already are what you want to be, that you have decided you're going to be happy, you're going to be wealthy, you're going to get into that vibrational energy that attracts to you the love of your life, the purposeful work that you truly desire. What you want wants you. Price Pritchett referred to U squared in another interesting way. He said, the concept is one of exponential gains rather than incremental progress. We're so used to thinking that we have to know the next step and the next step before we begin a big project. What if you just decided what the end result was going to be and start moving in that direction? And the universe will move mountains to make that happen for you. The concept is one of exponential gains rather than incremental progress. You might compare it to multiplying instead of adding. It means a geometric progression in your effectiveness. Now, really think about what Price Pritchett is saying. Even if you consider it to be a little on the side of ridiculous, there is another side of you that's saying, that's really good. You see, the higher side of your personality would truly love to multiply your effectiveness. The idea of getting 5 to 10% increase every year is pretty old. We're living in the space age, the age of quantum physics, space travel, instant communication. Let that run around your mind for a moment. And you'll not only like the idea of multiplying your effectiveness, it will start to settle in your mind. It will begin to feel comfortable. Price Pritchett went on to say, that's exciting as well as provocative, but it gets even better. Better is a great word, wouldn't you agree? Price Pritchett says, quantum leaps can come without apparent effort. These are high velocity moves that carry you to dramatically higher performance levels without a time-consuming struggle. What Price Pritchett explained in that statement spells promise. It spells power, possibility, and promise. And this kind of thinking and living definitely resonates with the essence of who we are. No one can accurately guess at your potential. Making high velocity moves should be something that we decide right now that we're going to learn how to execute. Price Pritchett said, quantum leaps seem to violate common sense utterly. Well, after years of working with this kind of information, it's clear that this kind of thinking actually does violate common sense. Thinking into results is a program that is designed to cause you to move beyond common sense. Top level performers are not locked into the logical way that is all the things that have always been done this way concepts. You must keep in mind that your paradigm controls your logic. If you're going to be making high velocity moves that carry you to dramatically higher levels of performance, you're going to have to rid yourself of the logic that is controlling you and probably everyone that you associate with. Nikola Tesla was not logical. Steve Jobs was not logical. The Wright brothers were not logical. Hillary would never have gotten to the top of Mount Everest. In fact, he would never have left base camp if he was letting logic control him. And if you want your dreams to manifest, if you want your results to multiply, you're going to have to let go of logic. For now, anyways. There is a gestation period for your dream. We know that it's like 72 days for a carrot to develop and 9 months for a baby to develop. You have no idea the gestation period for your beautiful dream. But Praise Pritchett says the idea of moving to a higher orbit and skipping several rungs on the achievement ladder in the process strikes people as far-fetched, maybe even outrageous. If you've spent any time discussing your big dream with other people or possibly working with your department in your company, maybe even a discussion amongst executives, when a person brings something up that is a really wonderful idea, so many times they're shot down by the masses of people. That's outrageous. That's ridiculous. That'll never happen. That is precisely why you have to be so careful in selecting the people that you want to brainstorm with, that you want to mastermind with, that you want to share your dream with. Think about the company that you work for. It's a corporate culture. And culture is simply group habit. You could call it a group paradigm. Bob Proctor said the movers and shakers of business and industry form the habit of doing things that failures don't like to do. They choose their paradigms. And paradigms are simply beliefs, the habitual way of doing things. They are forever breaking old limiting beliefs and creating new ones. The geniuses of the past, Edison, Ford, Einstein, they were not considered geniuses by their neighbors. They were very likely looked at as heretics, maybe bordering on insanity at times. It is generally after people of this nature are gone that they are elevated to the level of genius. The Wright brothers were a couple of crazy young bicycle mechanics from Dayton, Ohio, who were thought to be mentally unbalanced at times, even by their own father. Imagine back in the day when people were riding horses and buggies and bicycles, and they said, "We're going to fly." How crazy would that have been? What if you told your great grandparents that you're going to take their picture and shoot it through the invisible universe, send it to relatives on the other side of the world? They would have called you crazy. They would have locked you up for being a lunatic. Now everybody's got a little device. It's called a cell phone. Don't spend your energy defending your position. Accept the idea. You have a beautiful dream goal. There's something that you want, but trying harder is not necessarily the solution for achieving more. Price Pritchett says it may not offer any promise for getting what you want out of life. Sometimes, in fact, trying harder is part of the problem. If you stake your hopes on a breakthrough by trying harder than ever, you may kill your chances for success. Don't fight against the current circumstance. Don't be defensive. We've been programmed as part of our paradigm, part of our habitual behavior, to take logical, progressive steps. U squared implies an explosive jump in your personal performance that puts you far beyond the next logical step. The concept is one of exponential gains rather than incremental progress. Who would you be now that your goal has been accomplished? What kind of work would you be doing today that brings you so much pleasure it doesn't feel like work? Be selective about the people whom you share your dreams with. When you decide what you truly want, you're going after that beautiful dream, you must get yourself into the vibrational energy of the end result, the destination, the goal already accomplished, the wish already achieved. Quantum leaps come without apparent effort. These are high velocity moves that carry you to dramatically higher performance levels without a time-consuming struggle. Every challenge has a learning opportunity. Get excited about the opportunities to learn. When you find yourself deep in a problem, get excited about the opportunity to learn and grow. The tools that are given in thinking into results, the process that I facilitate, can cause quantum leaps to happen just by applying the concepts in this process. Now, Price Pritchett says, after the dust has settled, after the fact, quantum leaps may be viewed as practical, sensible, even obvious moves, but they typically don't come to you as the obvious moves in the moment when you're in the middle of the struggle, when you feel like you're failing. It's usually in retrospect that you perceive the hidden logic and elegance. Invariably, quantum leaps are not complex or intricate maneuvers. They tend to be simple, energy efficient, and time saving. Bob Proctor studied this material for over 60 years, and he said, after working in this field for the past 40 years, it's apparent that great advances come about when people have a deep understanding of their true potential and a tremendous desire to lead others to greater levels. They refuse to let logic control them, and they spend their days thinking in new dimensions, all the time performing at their very best at whatever they're doing. If you're not already living this way, make up your mind that you're going to begin now. Turn it into a habit. You may decide to do it for half a day at a time. Start in the morning and give it everything you've got until noon. Then take a break. Tap into the universal energy. Ask for guidance. And then at noon, start over again and give it everything you've got until the end of the day. Then wake up tomorrow and start the same process over again. Everything is energy. You can multiply your effectiveness. Money is energy. And you don't get energy. You already have it. Just move into intelligent action toward your goal. And remember, there is no law of assertion. You can't get what you want through aggression. There is only the law of attraction, which is the law of vibrational energy. There's a push and pull force. Everything is possible. Accept the idea that you don't get what you want, you get what you are. So allow yourself to play with the idea of already having your goal achieved. Play with the idea of $1 million or $1 billion. Make $1 million look like chump change and You'll start to get ideas flowing to you on how money can flow into your life without grinding it out, without working harder and harder. Following your passion, doing what you love. Money just comes as a result. What are you expecting? Expect an easy flowing day. Expect that life loves you. Take a few moments to decide, what would you love? What would you love to bring into your experience? What would it feel like if you were on your way to doing the work that you love, where you get lost in time and space? It doesn't feel like work. You're on purpose. You are doing what you truly love to do, and you make a difference in the world. You're happy, you're healthy, you're wealthy, you're having fun. You're doing work that you love so much you would do it even if you weren't being paid for. If you change the habitual way that you think, feel, and act, your whole life will change. What is it that you really, really, really want? Write it down. You can start with a shopping list of being happy, being healthy, being prosperous. What does that mean? What would you be doing if you had all the time and money that you needed to do what you wanted? Trips around the world, gifts for your family, retiring in luxury, putting your money to work for a charity or an organization or a cause that you believe in, raising the vibrational energy of yourself, your coworkers, your family. When you raise your vibrational energy, you look for the good in everything, and you find it, because there really is good in everything. You may have thought about all the horrible things that have happened to you that put you on a different trajectory, that changed the way you live. Maybe it opened the door for you to have a different occupation or a better marriage, or you found a solution. You invented something that changed the world, or you just feel happier, healthier, and notice how easily love and joy and purpose comes into your experience. Connect to what you truly desire. Imagine the feeling of already being that. What you think, how you feel, and the actions that you take create your life. You are sitting in the results that you have created. Write about what you truly want and focus in that direction. Create a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. Enjoy your day. I'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 7. Thank you.